Good morning, everyone out there. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. This is Tiffany Johnston. I'm the Chief of Staff at BlockCerts Blockchain. We are live here at the Asian Financial Forum. We have, and welcome back, we're welcoming back Lionel Bernard and Daniel Mency from our, you guys were guest speakers from our Singapore FinTech Festival in 2020. So today, just want to introduce Lionel Bernard. He is the founder and chief executive officer of Wleepay. Good morning to you, Lionel.
Good morning, Tiffany.
And then we have Daniele Mency, who is the president of Fusion STX. Good afternoon.
Hi, Tiffany. Yeah, good evening. It's night here. I'm in Italy. And good morning to you. Good afternoon, I guess, Lionel, right, for you? Or it's the beginning of the afternoon? Or yeah, kind of?
Yeah. It's mid-afternoon. Thanks for asking, Daniele.
Nice to see you. Yeah, I'll take the word because we are, spread across the globe. We are streaming actually for the Asian Financial Forum. I guess this time I said it properly because I always say FinTech Festival. But at least we are in Hong Kong streaming for this massive event, one of the biggest in the world, actually, along with the Singapore FinTech Festival when we streamed back in December. Actually, we're very, very happy to join this virtual event, even we're still in pandemic mode. But I think the business doesn't stop, and we work together with this giant organization to move things forward and to help entrepreneurs like you, Lionel, to keep on dreaming and to move businesses forward and to craft new things and to give birth to technology and to give birth to new projects. So that's why we're here working continuously and effortless. So to keep on moving things forward. So discussion today will be about introducing Wleepay. We have already done a session with you. We recorded a session on FinTech Festival. Today we're going a little bit step into detail because obviously we're interested to share with the people watching this video to get more educational content about your project, your journey, your venture. Then I will ask some questions to detail a bit, going a little bit more into detail on the marketing side, what is the growth stage of a company, just to also inspire new generation of entrepreneurs, and why not people willing to partner with you across different levels in the amazing journey you're doing. So I think the best would be to start introducing your project, so at least people that have not watched the previous content would bring, we will move them up to speed about this, and then we're going to detail a little bit further. Lionel, the floor is yours.
All right, well, Tiffany, Daniele, thanks for inviting me to the Asian FinTech Festival. It's a pleasure to be here. A bit about myself. I am the CEO and founder of Wleepay. My name is Lionel Bernard. I've been an IT executive and an engineer for about 30 years. I was born in Liberia, West Africa, and we started Wleepay back in 2019, primarily to provide mobile money services for the unbanked in West Africa. Wleepay is my first startup, and most of you may not know, but the word Wlee, W-L-E-E, literally means money in several West African dialects. So that's where that word comes from. Wleepay's mission is to bring the bank to customers, to make your phone your bank. As you may or may not know, many within the West African continent region, as well as the African continent, don't have access to a bank. Recent statistics indicate that only about 1/3 of Africans have access to a bank, as opposed to those who live in the West. But also the mobile money sector in the West Africa is growing significantly. It's the fastest growing market in the world. And that's being driven primarily by the smartphone adoption. Currently, there are about 50% of Africans that own a smartphone. That number is expected to grow to about 70% within the next 4 years. 4G and 5G telecom infrastructure is improving across the continent. And also, there's a huge amount of remittance that's coming from overseas, Africans living overseas and coming into the continent in excess of $87 billion every year. So these are all the factors that led to the establishment of Wleepay to accommodate and provide more quality and trustworthy services to customers across the African continent, specifically in West Africa.
Great. So I think this is this part of the world, actually, both Africa and banking. It's skyrocketing in terms of growth, and also in light of the acceleration due to the pandemic. And I think we all know that there are more than 2 billion, and if we don't know, is good to repeat. There are more than 2 billion people in the world that don't have access to banking services. And obviously, we all are requested to take an action there. And this is one of a project that is taking active steps to fill this huge gap. And obviously, we have also other initiatives. We're working on BlockCerts, mostly on our side, working on decentralized finance to fill this gap. But at the end of the day, we all have to work in the same direction and bring in this as a reality. And I don't know if you agree with a statement that actually we mentioned today in one of our webinars about Bill Gates. About 25 years ago, once he said, the world needs banking, perhaps it doesn't need the bank. That's why banking is a key service that anyone should be entitled to get access to, not necessarily the banks. The bank, it's kind of an infrastructure that is being built to provide banking. But the core and the need is providing banking services. Who is good at doing this is the one that will provide this service. That's why Wleepay, we're very happy to be here to go into details of your project and to provide also some insights about what has been done product-wise and what is yet to be done. So I think the best would be to start showing also some slides that provide more detail about your project. Tiffany, if you can share your screen and then project those slides so Lionel can move the discussion forward on the deeper level of detail.
Yeah. Here's the slide. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Daniele, you're absolutely right. Or Bill Gates is absolutely right. The world doesn't need banks, but banks need the world. But what the world actually needs is mobile banking. As you know, legacy banks are fixed structures.
Yeah.
They're in a specific location. It requires that you transport yourself there to attain financial services. And mobile banking has disrupted all of that by allowing the bank to come to you instead of you having to go to the bank. It relies on telecommunications infrastructure, which is more widespread across the globe currently. But that's essentially what's driving the fintech revolution and what's driving mobile banking across the world. You noted that 2 billion people across the world don't have access to a bank, either because they reside in rural areas or because it's they're not even familiar with the banking services. Now, in the African continent, about 1/4 of unbanked live within Africa, about close to 500 million, last estimate. So it presents a problem. They don't have access to the bank. The bank cannot come. They can't go to the bank because it's just not within the geographic location. So the bank has to come to them. And these are some of the problems that Wleepay is trying to resolve as far as bringing the bank to people via their smartphone and allowing them to engage in financial services right from their phones. One of the things that we're trying to resolve several problems here. The first is, besides access to bank, we're also trying to resolve the issue of cash dependency. As you may or may not know, most of Africa is a cashless society. And most Africans rely on cash for transactions. And cash is secure. It's susceptible to loss or it can be stolen. Also, given the COVID era pandemic that we're currently experiencing, cash can be seen as a medium for transferring the virus. So, in a sense, dependency on cash, has a lot of shortcomings to it. The other problem that we've seen amongst the banked within the African continent is the fact that existing mobile money platforms are very limited. So there are platforms out there besides Wleepay that allow you to do mobile banking from anywhere across the continent, even in rural areas. But most of them require that you contact an agent, and this is someone that has an affiliation with the provider that can facilitate your service. Most of them require the use of multiple applications. If you want to do insurance, you got to use a different app. If you want to buy insurance, if you want to do attain a microloan, you've got to use a different app. If you want to do cross-border payments, you've got to use a different app. There's also a prevalence of high fees within the mobile banking sector. And also a lot of merchants across the continent don't accept mobile money as a form of payment. And that goes back to the idea that if they don't accept it, then I have to provide cash. So these are some of the problems that Wleepay is trying to resolve by introducing very easy to use, convenient financial services to the unbanked that addresses the problem of access to banks, that addresses the problem of cash dependency, so that you can use your wallet to purchase goods and services instead of having to rely on cash. You can also use your wallet as a savings repository. We're also trying to address the problem of limited banking features by introducing a wide variety of features that our customers can easily use to achieve their banking objectives.
Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So we go to the solution.
All right, I've indicated to you some of the problems that we're trying to resolve. Access to banking, cash dependency, limited fee functionality. Wleepay resolve all of those by first being borderless. What that entails is that you can use our platform to transfer funds or engage in transactions locally. You can also use our platform across the African continent to engage in transactions across countries. This is something that's very, very difficult for a lot of customers across the continent to attain. We also have features that allow our customers to engage in transactions cashlessly. For example, if you approach a merchant that accepts Wleepay, you can make your payment via QR code. And our focus is on ensuring that small and large merchants accept Wleepay as a form of payment. It's very easy to enroll in our to set up an account with Wleepay. You don't need the assistance of an agent. You can set up your own account and start engaging in transactions from your wallet very easily. One of the things that we plan to do is to introduce a variety of features over time, such as besides traditional mobile money features, such as making transfers or paying bills or paying merchants. We're also going to introduce the feature that allows our customers to receive remittances directly to their wallet, to buy insurance, to apply for a microloan, and as well as to buy products and services in an online marketplace. So these are some of the solutions that we're introducing in the market to address the problems that exist as far as the cash dependency, the lack of banking services, geographically, and also the limited features that are in existing mobile money services. By being borderless, by being cashless, by being easy to use, and by having a variety of features that our customers can leverage to achieve their financial goals.
On the KYC side, Lionel, so since there are many people in the world, especially in some part of the world, they don't even have an ID card, right? So they might not even have an identity as per what we mean an identity into the West world, right? Meaning an ID with a code, with a plastic card, with some security features in there that eventually can be double-checked to verify whether the person really exists, and then is being checked against either an external database or a security check done on the document itself, just to avoid phony or fake document. So are you addressing, as part of the solution, also the problem of people not having a national ID? Or this is something that perhaps might come later in your stage of development?
Daniele, you're absolutely right. The lack of a valid government issue ID can be a barrier to accessing financial services.
Yeah.
KYC is a compliance issue, as well as a social issue. Many folks that live in rural areas across the African continent simply don't have an ID. They live their lives with, not needing to identify themselves. But once they have to engage in financial services, there's several regulatory things that come up. The first is that we allowing customers to enroll without an ID. Mm-hmm. And this is allowed, in terms of compliance, by simply having them take a picture of themselves. It's called a liveness photo. Also, they can specify some other identified information about themselves, such as their name, their date of birth, and their gender and things like that. But we capture all this information by requirement as part of the KYC process, and it does not require an ID. The only caveat to that is that if you don't have an ID, then your transactions there's a limit imposed on your transactions based on regulations. But KYC is a key part of our functionality by allowing those that have an ID to open a mobile money account with Wleepay, or for those that don't have an ID to be able to open an account as well. So we do have that functionality in our product.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds really cool, because at the end we're talking about inclusion, but at the end, if a solution foresee to go through a full vetting process to even grant, let's say, $20 or $10 spending, that might be enough for some people in some part of the world, then in that case, we come back to the root, and it's kind of a catch-22. We never build inclusion if we never start, right? So at the end of the day, we need to start from something and get to a higher limit as we go. So I like very much this approach in compliance with applicable jurisdictional compliance framework. Yeah. So I think
I was just going to interject as far as that for the KYC process too. Do you see down the road that you'll include it or put it on a blockchain to make sure that the data is encrypted and protected, which is something that BlockCert has as well? Is that something is that going to be next phase that you'll have, Lionel?
Yes, security is a key component of our operational strategy. We have to protect our customer data. We are collecting confidential information about our customers, including their photos, their ID, their identity, essentially. So we do plan on encrypting that and put it on the blockchain in blockchain format. That's something that's on our roadmap, and it's something that we believe is going to strengthen the security of our platform, specifically through BlockCerts.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we as a whole, KYC, it's a tricky area in the blockchain space, because you have KYC, it's somehow in between, because before, let's say, those that think that the whole crypto does not need any KYC, essentially, as long as you have assets in your wallet, you can trade those assets, you can lend those assets, you can borrow those assets with no KYC requirement, which is much more the decentralized finance part. Or somehow you have to start from the KYC, and then eventually later you can move to a decentralized protocol. So our point of view here, at least my point of view there, it's that decentralized protocols that can attract volumes from, let's say, people buying and sell assets. Somehow they attract liquidity from players that have started the process via, for example, a centralized exchange that pass a KYC. So, and this is again, somehow it's worth highlighting that KYC is a requirement that mitigates some risks. It might be good or bad. We might argue whether we like it or not, but KYC, it's a requirement to mitigate mostly identity theft and fraud and frauds. So meaning that someone eventually can use someone else's identity to obtain something, or eventually to even to launder money. So as long as the process it's clear and it addresses the needs of the 7 billion people in the world, I think KYC is always a good thing, at least to include people since step one, okay? Then KYC doesn't mean to go through the full verification of all legal parameters that compose the vetting or the credit score. Yeah. But at least there should be kind of a first step, which is recognizing who the person is and create a digital identity to allow the identification of the person. And then this can be, complexity can be added, at the infinite level. We have an active stream there to work along with the DFSO, which is the Digital Financial Observatory. Standard Observatory of the Columbia University in the US, to create a global framework to address compliance-related matters when it comes down to digital assets and traded on blockchain and digital ledger technology. So definitely KYC, also as part of the Wleepay project, it would be a topic of a tremendous improvement and to create true inclusion on the project. So that's very, very good, Lionel. Thanks for spending time talking about this point, which is very, very important to drive inclusions. I think we can go to the next slide, Tiffany. That's much more marketing. I mean, I like many aspects of the business, but marketing I'm very passionate about. So, Lionel, tell us a little bit more how you plan to grow your business.
All right. Well, I told you about the problems that we're trying to solve and the solutions that we're providing. Now, it's only fair that I tell you exactly how we're going to achieve growth and be able to achieve our objectives. Now, marketing is a key component of that. And our strategy is threefold: digital marketing, local marketing, as well as channel marketing. We plan on engaging in significant digital marketing via social media. We've already started some of that. There's various social media outlets, and currently we only started about a week ago. We currently have close to 2,000 engagements and followers via those three outlets: Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So social media marketing is a huge component of our marketing strategy, and the goal there is to reach a lot of our customers who are in the diaspora. A lot of Africans live overseas, and they're primarily the ones that send remittances back home, and so we're trying to reach them in terms to be aware that Wleepay exists as a medium for transferring funds to their relatives, their friends and relatives back in Africa. So social media is a big part of reaching that audience. We're also using social media to reach a younger generation of Africans who are much more adapt to technology. Most of them do have a smartphone. Most of them are on social media. Most of them are readily adapting mobile money as a financial platform, even more so than the older generation. And when I mean younger generation, I mean those between the ages of 18 and say 35 years old. Our marketing is targeting them specifically in continent as well as in the diaspora. So that's one medium we're using for marketing. Another medium that we're going to be using for marketing once we launch is local. That entails billboard, TV, radio marketing. but we're also going to be doing a lot of grassroots marketing locally. And what that entails is we're going to be establishing roadshows, and a team of our people will be going out into rural areas and demonstrating for people how Wleepay can help them be more financially inclusive, how they can install the app on their phones, how they can set up an account, how they can transfer funds or receive funds, how they can use their wallet to pay for things locally, and how they can attain a loan or buy insurance, and also shop online directly. So we're going to be engaging in a lot of grassroots marketing locally in the country, specifically in our initial country of Liberia, and expanding into other West African countries. Also, how they can transfer funds across border. Our third marketing strategy is to leverage channels. That is by engaging in push marketing, sending out texts and notifications to our customers about rewards and royalties that they've signed up for with their favorite merchants, about specific things that are going on in the market, or new services that we're introducing. We're going to be sending out a lot of text and information, pushing out to our customers. Retail channels, we're going to be partnering or collaborating with a lot of retailers to market through their channels, as well as marketing through associations such as taxi drivers and farmers. And our goal for marketing is to attain the bulk of our initial investment will be in marketing, and the goal is that we want to, within our first year, we want to attain at least 300,000 customers enrolling in our platform. And the way to do that is to have a quality product on the back end, as well as have a really a significant and broad marketing program that targets our customers that are online, that are sending remittances, our customers that are local, as well as the merchants that make up our ecosystem.
Which currencies you plan to add to the first version of your product?
Our first product will be launching in Liberia. We're licensed to operate in this market. It's a small country in West Africa, about 5 million in population, but about 80% of the population currently uses mobile money. Their currency supported, the currency supported in that market are US dollars and Liberian dollars. If you open an account in that market specifically, you have a US dollar wallet, and you also have a Liberian dollar wallet, which by compliance are required to be kept separate.
Okay, so you're gonna start enabling fiat into the local currencies, into the various regions, right?
Yes, we plan to be operational in at least 5 markets within 5 years, or 8 markets within 5 years. And every market, we're going to support the local currency as well as the international currency that's supported locally.
Yeah, and then just to me, this is just a fact that is very interesting. So none of the biggest mobile banks, at least in Europe, so just to name some, so Revolut, or for example N26 or others, they have no presence in Africa. So in fact, of course, if you use a Revolut card and you travel to South Africa, for example, it did work. But if you are from South Africa, if you are in a country in Africa and you wanna get a Revolut card, you can't get it unless you're resident, for example, in the UK or in Italy or in Europe, right? So in fact, if this is a pretty new market, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of the Western mobile financial services don't operate across Africa, and there's several reasons for that. One is they don't have an infrastructure there or operations there, and the other is unfamiliarity with the market conditions, which are different from the Western market conditions. And another reason is just a misunderstanding of the overall potential in that market, which is huge. So, Wleepay, we're local to, we're starting in West Africa, and we plan to remain there. As I said earlier, one of the reasons why the African market is the fastest growing mobile money, mobile financial services, fintech market in the world is because people don't have access to banks. So, but they do have a cell phone in their pocket, and they know that they can use a cell phone to make a call, to engage with others through social media. And the next step is to do financial to engage in financial services. So that's one of the reasons why the market is so attractive. And Revolut, if you have a Western account, you can set up Revolut and connect your account to it. Most of Western societies have adopted open banking, but across the African continent, open banking is, it depends on the country you're operating in, and that's another reason why a lot of these major mobile financial platforms don't have a presence in Africa, is because the regulation is not up to par with their standards. So they, the open banking standards, the compliance standards, the KYC standards, all of that. Most Africans don't have an ID card, so that, they see it as something that they cannot, a risk that they cannot take. For these factors are why the African market is sort of a frontier market. It doesn't have all the conveniences as the Western market, and that can be a source of distraction or attraction for the entrepreneur who wants to service that market.
Yeah, that's right. And guess I think it makes sense. So in the last minutes of our streaming, our broadcast to AFF, to tell a little bit more about your growth plan, because the company is in seed stage. So right now, Wleepay is one of the projects that has been onboarded on the Fusion Funder platform, so past the due diligence phase. And actually, in the coming days, Fusion Funder will enable the online matchmaking functionalities to connect potential stakeholders to the project directly with the project. Fusion Funder is not an investment advisor. It doesn't touch any money that eventually might go into the development of a partnership, of a funding model with Wleepay, but it doesn't go through Fusion Funder. So Fusion Funder is a tech matchmaking platform. And in the future, across different jurisdictions, it will also launch a crowdfunding campaign upon regulatory approval. But that's something that will be part of a different streaming session. So Lionel, would you be able to just summarize what is the ask for the project to support the growth, as you just explained? So for people listening here might be interested to connect directly with you, can you summarize the stage of the ask of a project?
Wleepay, we're currently in the pre-seed phase of investment. This means that we're seeking funding to start operations in the first market that we're targeting, which is Liberia. And we're looking, in this pre-seed phase, we're looking to raise about $500,000 in exchange for a 10% equity. And we're also open to convertible debt. And the money will be used essentially for marketing, primarily in product development. Our goal is we're licensed to operate in this initial market, which is really difficult to obtain license. We plan to leverage that by growing our customer base in this initial market to about 300,000 in the first year. That's what we're targeting. We're going to pursue additional rounds of funding to cover our first year of operations, which we've cost estimated at about 1.3 million, which is the amount that we need to operate for a year. But this initial pre-seed, that's the amount that we're seeking to cover marketing, product development, compliance. Now, some financial indicators that that we've estimated we're targeting at least 7 million customers within 5 years. We expect our revenue per customer to be about $4 per customer within the first year, and our costs, in terms of how we relate to our costs, we're going to be spending about $12 per customer and generating only $4 per customer. So we have a 1-to-3 ratio for the first year, but by the second year, that number, the ratio of revenue and cost per customer, should be even 50-50, and then we're estimating by our fifth year, our ratio of revenue to customer expenditure will be 4-to-1. That means that we're going to be generating 4 times as much as we're spending in terms of customer revenue generated. We are projecting to achieve profitability within 12 months. Again, because the market is growing significantly, and we're going to plug into that. And we're also projecting a year-on-year revenue growth of about 30 to 40% after our first year. And marketing and product development will be the predominant expenditure items over that time period. Our income sources are primarily from fees. We generate fees from inbound remittance, from merchant payments, from cross-border transactions, from cash out, and we charge a percentage of each transaction. And this is primarily where our revenue is going to be generated from. Most of our revenue will be generated from inbound remittances. Whenever someone in the diaspora sends funds back home, we take a percentage of that remittance. And based on our transactions estimate, the bulk of our transactions will be inbound remittance as well as cash outs. So this is our financial picture. Again, we're trying to raise $500,000 in exchange for a 10% equity. And you may also be asking, what makes us better or different from our competitors? And it's the fact that our technology is much more secure. It's much more feature rich, and we're licensed to operate. We also have a self-enrollment KYC. That's something that's not even on the market right now in the region that we're targeting. So all of these solutions that we have that illustrate our product offering, we believe makes us stand out from the competition. And it's going to help with our growth.
Oh, Daniela, you're on mute.
Oh, you're right. It happens very often. So in fact, to summarize, there are 3 channels of interactions to become an active stakeholder of a project, according to the opportunities being discussed and presented by Lionel right now, which is get in touch with Lionel before Tiffany has shown also the email address from Lionel. Getting in touch via Fusion Funder, we're going to enable a direct matchmaking in Fusion Funder in the coming days. Actually, we are in the final release of the new website. Hopefully Monday, Tuesday next week, that is going to be live. We have to fine-tune a couple of stuff. It's mostly cosmetic stuff on fusionfunder.com website. So from there, you will see the logo of Wleepay. You want to get in touch with Wleepay, you have to go through a due diligence phase. You have to tell who you are. Are you interested to participate to the rounds that Lionel just mentioned? And at the end of the day, there will be a direct discussion between the broker-dealer, the qualified investor, whoever is going to be, and the project. We are not entering in the middle of the discussion. We are just providing the technology to matchmake. And the third possibility is to get in touch with Tiffany at blockcerts.com. And Tiffany will help to organize the next steps before the fully online platform will be available. So to close the session, thank you very much, Lionel. Thank you very much for being with us at the AFF. Thanks for introducing and explaining your project. We're very happy to help you within Fusion Funder to make a success story out of Wleepay. And thank you very much, Tiffany, for organizing, supervising, managing also the slide deck in the back. Yeah. And thank you very much again.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, I just want to leave a comment. It's a great project you're doing, Lionel, with Wleepay, just bridging the gap between the old world of banking and the new world of mobile banking, and bridging the gap between the banked and the 460 million unbanked in West Africa. So it's great, and all the best to you. Best of luck with everything. Wleepay would serve Africa and beyond. So best of luck. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thanks for having me.